Good morning, guys. Max, I don't know if we can still talk or not. I see your comment stacks. Honestly, the more you guys comment it, the less likely it is to happen. So keep that in mind. Yeah, it's going to be a busy day for me. I have 3 live streams. This one, the one for the group tonight at 8:30, and then Sin City. And then I'm going to go for a nice 5-mile jog after I drop my truck at the shop after this. So it's going to be a busy day, guys. So the tutorial on traditional markets and how you guys should use the same lesson that's already in the academy is just not a priority, unfortunately, right now. So you can definitely tinker. Nothing's stopping you from putting forth the effort on the chart, though. That said, let's talk about the charts that are here. Unless Master Order Flow Technician Max has anything to add.
I'll let you talk first, mate.
What's that?
I'll let you talk first.
You're going to let me talk first. All right, you got it. Well, I mean, there's not much to really say.
What?
I know. You're going to be up pretty quick. Guys, same levels we've been working off of. And you can see that I've added the weekly open. And I think the previous week high was there yesterday as well. But you can see that just the stock standard levels that we go over in the group when we're adding like our day trading stuff does, you know, they get things fairly well. Is it perfect? By no means is it perfect. However, you are getting really nice bounces off of the weekly open, showing it's going to be a key level. I believe that's also our developing week point of control, if I do recall, which I can't remember if I updated. I did not update this one because I am an absolute idiot. There we go. We're just going to go ahead and copy and paste. All right. We may have done this yesterday too, which means I didn't label it. There you go. Coming in near that POC as well. And you're living above the developing week range high, right? So, or if you wanted to pull it from a breakout like so, the break above the 25K range right here, getting back above 25, 351 and 25, 222, we could pull just one giant range, and you can see you've got the developing week point of control just above this, and just below it is the overall volume range point of control at the weekly open. So the weekly open still remains pretty key. You can see where our local lows are coming in from the prior sessions. And you're basically butting up against last week's highs, trying to get through, 28.4, what is that? 28.487 to 28.563. See if we can't take these highs into 28.7, 26.50. That's still my goal, is to get a nice SFP up here. You could also do something like this where you can see that the previous week high here is really the level that's going to trigger that. So watching previous week high pretty intently right now just to see what we get, but that has traditionally been where you want to be taking shorts. However, it's been best to take local profits on these as well. It hasn't really done much below the VWAP. As soon as we get back to the VWAP, occasionally a couple hours, below it before regaining it and then re-challenging the highs with higher lows in place. So losing the weekly open, it doesn't necessarily destroy the structure, but it does make me think that we could then target below these levels, right? We can start targeting these lows here if the weekly open is lost. I'm looking for this low and then this low, and ideally this blue box of peace and prosperity will be support. If not, we play it to the next box below us, right here. And we always mind the SFP. And what I mean by that is this little guy right here that's chilling. We're always going to have this guy kind of radared, because in that scenario where it breaks down, this to me is probably where we're ending up. We may leave it. That's why I say kind of keep an eye on the box when we get here. But this would be the low that if it's swept into like the weekly pivot and this offers up support, which I'm not expecting it to in that scenario, it can still offer up a good trade. So that's the trades for downside price action. However, price is still making higher lows, putting pressure towards that week high that we identified later or earlier in the week. The last couple of days we've been talking about it. So you have to remember, we cannot preset for this short. Main reason being is if we get that push higher above the high, there is no guarantee that, the level above us here at 28.726 from the June 22nd low in 2021 is going to be resistance, even though that is the technical value area low of our range over here as well, right? If we were to pull that range, that is the val. And it's something we covered a while back. I believe it is right here. You can see that's your value area low of the range, June 22nd low. This is where you're finding resistance. What happens if we get back in the range, guys? Well, typically we target the point of control, and you can see that's also the quarterly NPOC. There's a weekly NPOC, and then if we were just to go out on the high time frames and look at it from the standpoint of like weekly basis, right? And that's why this box exists. As you can see, it's the last place we kind of settled up on a weekly basis before nuking lower, obviously. So to me, this is where you're going to find that supply. So a short at 28,726 could very well be a good play. However, it doesn't have to be. And you have to remember that if this level is reclaimed and it just blasts through here on volatility, you know, this is still kind of the ultimate target for me. Is I want to see this level in this box. There's no reason we won't see this as of right now, in my opinion. So we'll see what we get. And that's that psychological 30K zone, but technically it starts at 29,873 up to 30,169.50. And obviously, you know, that's a good place to be looking for risk on positions to the downside, in my opinion. Not that this isn't a place you can't trade. You can definitely trade this box. And you should trade the reactions out of here, as they've been favorable and they've been easy trades to have. But if you're looking at this just from an overall standpoint, I think that this is going to be the area that we're looking towards still. And if we see that area, you know, it's not a guaranteed short either. There's no such thing as guaranteed in trading, but I'm very heavily invested in seeing this region eventually and getting the reaction off of it. So that's kind of my high time frame analysis. On the low time frames going into FOMC, you guys know I don't care what the Fed does today. I only care what price is going to do, because that's how I'm going to make money, is reading the order flow and reading what is happening in that moment. And if that's something that you're not comfortable doing, because price typically moves fast, and sometimes I don't get to do anything with it either, you just watch. You watch and you wait for the dust to settle a little bit, and then we take the next best available trade based on what we've marked out in our trading plan going into the event and out of the event, right? So that's how I'm trading this. If we get a sweep of this high, though, what are we looking to do? Well, you get the proper sweep like you're looking for. Obviously, you've always got the VWAP on your radar, but weekly open, point of control, and then bottom of the range is where I'm looking towards. As we said yesterday, if we take these lows first and we come to this box, I'm looking to run it back up to this local high and take the high out. However, if we take the high first, we get a good reaction, right? We can short this. We're looking to do this and start targeting low 1, low 2, lows 3, right? And you're looking to take this back down into support into those targets. You may not get all of them if it's a highly bullish move, and you may not even get that trade. It might not occur. So we'll see. That's my plan, though, is if I can get that trade and take it down, I'm going to trade this like a range until it isn't. If it doesn't give me that trade, I'm looking to read the reaction off of this area of the chart. Super simple plan. I hope that helps you guys if you're watching. But yeah, high time frames, there's just been no real weakness just yet. And we know that this is a poor high. So we're looking for that to be taken out eventually here. And it's gotten pretty close. It's coming in there now. That's all I've got on Bitcoin. We'll talk XRP after Max goes over the order flow. Only thing I ask is we're 8 minutes in, guys. There are 28 of you in here. Please do me a favor. Hit the like button, subscribe, share it with a friend. You guys know the spiel. Just that supports the channel. That's all we're asking.
I said I was going to go over this yesterday. So I've gone through the the past data of when we had these FOMC meetings, and this may not be relevant for today because whatever they're going to release. But I just want you to look at the price action. Strictly, let's look at the price action here. Potentially getting an SFP right now. We've just had a finished auction at the top there, $1.4 million at the top. In fact, let's just pop over to that and zoom in. So potentially getting an SFP as we speak right now. Finished auction at the top. Probably a stop loss that got hit there and pretty much absorbed in that $10 range. So getting selling imbalances here. The volume's just been unfortunately awful so far today. Let's go to the one there. You're all getting high percentages. It's a pretty valid setup considering you've got that finished auction as well at the top there. So yeah, we just SFP'd the previous day high. I do want to go over some things though, rather than jumping into a trade and having to think about that. Plus, with the fact we have got this thing, this thing coming out in a minute. Not in a minute, in a couple hours. I really want to be in trades too much right here. But anyway, so yeah, going over what's occurred previously. So this is the one from February. This red line is not a wick. This is when this is just a guide for me to tell me when it effectively started. And what we did initially was the price went up before quickly coming back down, before quickly going back up to ultimately going down again. And that was when you got the reversal. Now, how could you have traded this? Well, pretty easily. As soon as you got back above this region and you saw the strength in these candles. Now, I'm pretty sure I've got the buying here. Yeah. So as you can see, this was a mess. This was the initial as they were talking here. So as they released all the data and everything, and as it was being processed by the market, what we had was a huge sell-off, huge volume on that. 59 million. It's very considerable. When we look at highs and lows, you're looking for that type of volume to really cement that, okay, this whatever we've got here in front of us could be a high or a low. I don't think it's bounced back up. Buying's coming in, but then let's go for the actual high. But then, as you can see, you had a huge amount of buying coming in. So SFP, the lows for the day, got back above it. Huge volume on the low, so it's a considerable low. And then as you got the buying in the delta switch, I couldn't go back. I couldn't zoom in I didn't want to go in a lower time frame. I think this was 5 minutes. But as you can see, huge buying bounces as you made that move, going against what price action was doing. This was back in December. We actually had an SFP of the day. I think there was another high back here on the left, which we did SFP. 2 wicks. Actually had multiple chances to get into this short here. And unfortunately, I couldn't go back on the 5 minute and look at it. But on the 15 minute, you can see huge selling taking place. And these are the things that whenever the volume comes in, let's say we're at the highs, which we are now. Let's say we have a huge wick to the upside, and then price starts to trace. If you are that swing trader esque type of person, when you see these huge volume spikes on the charts, you really need to think about, okay, are we at the highs? Do I want to take a short or sell here? Or if we're at the lows, this is probably a good point to buy or leverage along. So you can see huge volume at the top there, and you've given multiple attempts where you had loads of selling advances. That middle one, which wasn't taken again, the middle candle here, was actually a finished auction. I can't make it any bigger for you, so I'm not too sure you can see it. And I'm not sure what my mouse is doing there. But there is a finished auction at the top there. So all these types of things are what you want to be looking for in order to get into a trade if you are trading it. But then I've just gone through a couple more just to go over the fact that pretty much all of the initial moves that we get from these things are reversed. This was September. It was actually here. So, huge spike up, or actually a wick down, and then a huge spike up, which ultimately came down again. Gave you plenty of time. Gave you multiple trades here before we ultimately went, broke up over $1,000 higher. September, this one is, which it was here. So you went up before coming down, coming back up, giving you another chance to get in. There would have been, some maybe a gold pocket or something in this region. The charts, I actually don't think it is, just looking at it. But you would have had reasons to get in there. You've got I don't know what they call that candle nowadays, but I never knew what they called it. But I don't know what they call that candle. But that is a bearish type of candle when you see that at the top of a move, and then ultimately red candles coming off it. And then this was the only one I could find where out of the 5 that I looked at, where price didn't reverse as soon as the news broke. So it broke here, the news broke here, and ultimately we went up much higher from that point. So 4 out of 5 have reversed the initial move. So things to be aware of. Okay, now that's done. I said I was doing that, but yeah, looking at today, it's really slow. Honestly, the volume's been absolutely abysmal. It really has throughout the whole day. Now I know some of the boys spotted, some of the lads in the group spotted this earlier when you came back and tested that weekly open, and after that, as you made the this higher low. I think it was the gold pocket 2. You were getting bullish divergence, and that's pretty much been the story of today. You just got the bullish divergence, plenty of buyers coming in. They weren't doing the best job over here. I Actually, it was over here. They weren't doing the best of jobs. So normally when you're not doing the best of jobs, you can expect them to be taken out, which I'd imagine they were in this little spike down. But it's kind of continued, and it's been the story of this trend. There's buyers coming in, and we're not doing the best job of moving the price too much. So it is what it is. You can't really counter trade it right now, being the way that it is. When normally when you'd see buyers come in and do a crappy job of pushing price higher, you'd trap them and come down. Now looking at this here, again, we've got trap traders on this SFP. We didn't really take the high, which is annoying. It's not a finished auction, which is not ideal. I know Twin went over and looked at a load of SFPs and mentioned in the group that you do want to see those finished auctions with your SFPs. Really, if you're taking any trade, you want to be seeing the finished auctions. They're a really neat thing to keep an eye on and be aware of when you are taking trades using order flow, strictly because it pretty much tells you that one side of the market is exhausted, so that as soon as the other market participant comes in, price effectively has to, you hear a slippage, it effectively has to drop to go or climb to go and find the other person to pair with. So if they're market buying, it has to then jump up to go and find someone that's willing to pair them with a short or a sell of a long. And if you're entering a short, it then has to drop to find a buyer to match with or a short to exit. So these are things that when you are looking to get into trades on using order flow, they are very neat, very small, like finite little details that you can look for, and they're very, very useful. But other than the buying that's coming in and the little SFP that we've had here, I'm not 100% convinced by this one. I think you really have to be cautious. I don't think this is going to be one that comes down and takes that weekly open right now. I think really patience is the name of the game here. I think I said that yesterday as well, but with what's going on and the volatility that's coming up, I'm not going to be taking this trade right now, even though it probably has the potential to come down and tap the day point of control if it really wants to. But it looks like we're not getting a delta switch up from it. So you've got trap traders, okay, which is it's something you'd want to see in a SFP. But you want to see the delta switch as well. You want to see some heavy negative selling coming in. And even on the 1 mil, I don't think we have it here. We've got 64% there. I'll be interested if it lingers below these longs that have ended here for a little while. It's clearly tried to not let them out here. So it is locking them in. But personally, I'm waiting for the volatility later before I make any decisions on my accounts, because why would it not just take that high there? So I think patience is the name of the game right now. We really do have to. You can't be getting in any big positions, any high leverage positions. I don't have a finished auction on mine, Danny. Actually, I don't know why, but my order flow always seems a little bit different to others. I'm not 100% certain as to why that is. But I don't have a finished auction there. Or do you mean this candle here? I'm not taking this delta. Yeah, exactly. The delta hasn't switched up enough. So, when you see this type of thing take place, like an SFP that we've got here, yes, you've got the trap traders, but unless the rest of the market decides, okay, now I'm going to short or now I'm going to sell, you're going to be. People always hear the thing is where it's like, it's always good to be the first person, blah, 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 blah. It's not in trading. You want to see the big boys start to come in and start to make their moves, and then you want to jump on with them. You don't want to be the first person to be like, oh, do you know what? We just SFP'd, I'm 100% going to short this, because, what if that isn't the move? And what if the big boys have other plans? Until you see some, more negative delta coming in, it's probably not the best to jump in just yet. We've only got one selling amount there, one there, but I think that was prior. So not 100% convinced with this SFP. It's probably going to take the high before the FOMC meeting, but 25 tick finished auction on 5 min. That's how we browse. It is indeed, but how much of that? 70. But what you've got there is it's really isolating the top end of that. So, when you go into the ticks, the lower the ticks, okay, the less isolated, well, I say less isolated. If I was to go to one tick, for example, you're gonna get most likely some finished auctions up here. If you go on one tick, there's always things. So you've got to pick one that you like. I really just like the 20 ticks one. Reason being is every block I know is $10. So for me, there's no thing there. The 25 one, the cutoff is just enough that it shows a zero. So yeah, not for me, that one. Max, what? That means it needs to show a zero when referring to a finished auction. Yeah. So you get them all the time. You do get them a lot. So look, you've actually got 3, 4 here, 5 even. You get them a lot. And what it effectively means is, I hate saying means is, but what it means is there's no market selling taking place here. Because obviously market selling is on the left-hand side, market buying is on the right-hand side. So when we've got a zero on the charts, price still for price to move, there has to be an aggressive market order to move the price. So when we see a zero, what does that mean? Clearly the price has been here, but why is it suddenly dropped and left no one here? So you have to think of the other side of the market as well, the limit orders. So when prices, as it has in this little candle here, gone up with the 15K market buys, someone's clearly been sat in a limit order at this point, collected that 15K limit order, whether they're out of the position or entering the position, doesn't really matter. Just going over this thing now. However, as soon as someone has entered a market short, there's no, or a sell, there's no effectively buyers or people longing to go with that short in that little block. So then price has to slip effectively to find those buyers, and that's why you get the zeros. So when you'll see some candles. We've definitely not had one today. Let me have a look. Oh, we did have one here. So you see somewhere it's like 2, some can be 3. I think we've seen a 5 or 6 one in the group. I can't remember. Twin will know because I think he called it out, and we've just taken the high quite strong there. So let me go over that one in a minute. Let me have a look at it now. But I'll go over I'll finish this, then we'll look at it. So when you see like 2 zeros here, as soon as someone's putting a buy in, they've jumped up effectively. I think it'll be about $12 or so to where they've actually filled that position. So they'd have been gutted for a $12 slippage from when they clicked the button. But sometimes it is what it is, and that is when you see these, it's very good if you want to get into a trade on that side. So this, when you see a finished auction here and price clearly pulled up from it, it's a bullish thing. You want to see, and you tend to see at the tops of moves and at the bottoms of moves, a lot of finished auctions. And having Max explain this is awesome. So at the tops and bottoms of moves, you tend to see finished auctions. So you can look for finished auctions when you're doing pretty much fucking anything to do with order flow. If you're looking at a gold pocket, or you've got your levels, you've got Magic's box, what you can look for is a wick into that region with finished auctions, and then that can be your signal that, okay, clearly we've exhausted one side of the market out, and price must retreat to go to the other one. But you really want to be careful where you're looking at it, because this was a good one, but as we went over a second ago, where were we? You can get a load in a region of the charts, and they're meaningless. So you really have to be cautious of where you're getting them. If we got them at the top, we haven't. So right now, if you're using this alone, which I don't recommend, you'd want a finished auction. But one thing to note is we are getting a bit of a delta switch up at the top here. Seems like a lot more selling is coming in up here, but price not really dropping. Kind of got to wait for that initial move to take place. But yeah, the fact we haven't got a finished auction here, you could do it like an audit, I guess. I don't know what else how to really describe it, but you could say, okay, These are all the things that I'm looking for reasons to enter a trade. It could be finished auctions, selling imbalances, a certain percentage on the volume chart, your delta switch ups, which are, they're going to come in with all these other things. And what you can do is when you're going to enter a trade, you can say, okay, finished auction tick, delta switch up tick, and we've got a really high percentage on the the volume chart or whatever chart you're using, whether you are using strictly the delta chart, and you can go tick again, and then you've got 3 reasons there that will give you the confidence. And I recommend writing it down somewhere at least, just so until you've completely memorized it, and you can say look at it and go, okay, no finished auction, getting some heavy doubt here, no selling imbalances. Maybe I don't want to take that trade. Maybe you want the whole chart to be ticked, which you probably won't get. You're probably not going to get all your, you're probably not going to get a finished auction, selling imbalances, or stacked selling imbalances, or your whole list. But if you were to say, okay, I'm only going to take trades from specific levels or trading plans that I've built when I have 3 of these 4 or 5 things, that can be very beneficial to make sure that you're only going to be taking better trades. And then when you're wrong, you can come back and look at your little boxes that you've ticked and say, okay, I used these together and it didn't work, and you can try and figure out why effectively. But yeah, I think is there any other questions? Got a finished auction on top. It's still not taking a high though, again. I'd imagine it will. I don't think, because price isn't dropping as much as one would expect, I think you're probably going to take the high, just a little bit and try and give us more of a wick, I guess. Well, I guess if it did just drop, it would be a wick. We've only got 20 seconds left. And and another thing, another cool thing to look for. So when you see at the top of a move, let's say, let's flip the thing here. Imagine we had like 3 or 4 million at the top here, and it was an imbalance, and it was right at the top, and then price action didn't go anywhere in that 10 tick candle, 10 tick box, $10 box, sorry. And you had a huge 4 million there, and then price did start to reject. That can show you that someone sat there with a huge ass limit order, absorbed all that however many million buys that have gone into it, and then price drops after. That's another sign that you can look for. That's quite a cool one to check out. But yeah, right now I would strictly be trading the SFP. So you've got quite a way to go to, because the fact you haven't got a finished auction here does make me somewhat suspicious to jump in quickly. But if you are to jump in, I think your first take profit actually does have to be the high. But yeah, I'm not 100% convinced by this one yet. Again, similar to what we had down here, no finished auction. And I know the candles only just started, but there's not too much heavy delta in that one. He says as it comes in. Seems to be held up pretty well. So another thing that you can look for is if you are on the, sorry, I don't know why I'm taking over magic. But anyway, another thing that you can look for, you can go to the really low timeframes or use like a volume chart, which is strictly based on volume. And you can look for, and I did this yesterday for, I can't remember what trade it was.
What I would do,
you tell us.
What I'm doing is I'm listening to you, but what I'm also doing is I have a line at 28,726 on my volume chart. And so it allows me to watch that without having to watch TradingView. And I just watch the volume chart. And, up until a little bit ago, there's really been nothing that's made me want to like jump into a short necessarily. However, as we start dipping below the level, I see I have stacked $1 million buy or sell imbalances. Now I'm interested. I start looking at this going, okay, where can I take this to? And then you use your XO to go to like, where's my daily value area high? Where's my POC? Where's my, VWAPs, things like that for the session, all that stuff. All that jazz.
Getting a huge stack of imbalances now.
Yep. All below the level, That's why you mark those levels. It keeps it super clean, super easy. For anyone that's curious what I'm talking about, I'll show my screen so you can kind of see what I'm on about here while Max is doing what he's doing there.
Go on, I'll just go over this. So like yesterday when I was taking, let me move this one up.
No, go ahead.
yesterday when I was looking at this short, what we had was a series of lower highs. And I was on the 1 minute chart. We had a series of lower highs being made, and you had bearish divergence, which was another reason. You also had your stacked imbalances. I'm not sure if you can see that. I'm not sure why my mouse is doing that on the fucking thing, but we had 3 stacked imbalances there. I was on the 1 minute chart, mind you, but they were there on the 5 minute too. And you also had the bearish divergence. So you can look for all these types of things to give you confidence to enter a trade if you are ever scared about it, really. But yeah, sorry, Magic, you go. Everyone just look at Magic.
Oh, sorry, I'm doing something else. I was adjusting a take profit. I did take that trade. My bad. Am I up then? Sorry, I was listening but not listening. I was busy trading.
Is that your trade face?
Since I have my glasses on, I can't fucking see the screen from where I'm sitting. So yeah, that's where I squint. It looks like I'm hurting pretty bad. But yeah, so I'm gonna share my screen. Is that okay?
Do it. I'm done. 39
right.
people.
Guys, everybody always asks me like how I trade order flow. So I keep it really simple. I had one level I was interested in. It was 28,726, if you guys recall. Right? You can see the line is on the chart. Hit it. Really nothing here. You don't want to see imbalances like this coming in at the end of a candle, especially like generally these guys get pushed out in my experience. Plus you didn't see anything to really make you want to take the short here in the delta. Okay. So as Max is saying, like you have what you need to see kind of, but you don't at the same time, like not all the pieces are there. So as we come up above the level, I start seeing, all right, we've got a lot of volume coming in. What I'm looking for is particularly this level to be lost. And so as soon as we got stacked selling imbalances for me right here, and I saw us dip below the level, I actually started jumping in market shorts into this candle and just targeting the daily value area high as my first take profit. So I was able to get in pretty close to where I wanted to, around 28,726, run it down for about $200. Can't catch all of it. And then get out of the trade. And I'm looking to see if we reclaim this level. If so, what's it going to do? To me, this isn't something just yet that I'd be like, oh, this is a great swing trade. This was more for a scalp for me. And really keeping it simple. I'm not trying to overdo it. I'm not using a lot of different tools. In fact, I don't even have to leave XO charts outside of going to my screen with my exchange on it to make the trade. And for those that have asked in the past what we're doing in terms of how we're getting into these positions, it is market orders. So you do have a fee associated with that. But, if you can get $200 on a move, you can pay for that market order in and out pretty easily. So that's how I'm doing
$15 for every market order you do. So if you were to enter if you had one whole Bitcoin, and you enter this is specifically on Bybit. If you were to enter one Bitcoin, trade long or short, right now it's $15 to mark it in, and then another 15 if you mark it out. I think it's 0.1, but what I like to do when I am really taking small scalps is you can just click. Thanks for the boys for teaching me this one, because I was always doing it manually. But you click left shift and your left key, and then you can pretty much. So I know on Bybit it's 0.6, and then pull it to 0.012. So it's actually $35 up here. So $35. So you know that if you are taking a trade, you want to be really going above that at least, really. But it's also important if you are scalping to where to put your stop loss, because if you want to cover your fees as well, if you're not taking huge profits at the initial one, you will want to cover your fees for when it comes back up. So you have to be aware of that type of thing when moving your stop loss to entry. If you ever move your stop loss to entry, then it comes and hits your stop loss, and you're like, why the fuck is that still so red? It's the fee. So you have to be aware of that one.
Very good. Yeah, so I'm out of that trade already. I'm just chilling. One reason why you wanted to close that trade or even get in, so you can see the delta did pick up right here where, we're seeing the imbalances we want to see, right? You've got a couple up here. You've got a couple here. Your delta is now hitting red. You're back below where your target line. But notice on the move down, you're not seeing open interest really increasing on this. You're actually seeing it come off, at least for me on the volume chart here on the 5 mil. And you can see that delta is slowly starting to shift back to green. So it just tells me that since my entry isn't above this line, that more than likely we're going to get that back test. I'm really only looking to scalp this, get in and out, and then wait for another setup, as I think there will be one, whether it takes the high again or, you know, gets a rejection somewhere in here. I'm looking for a more clear setup if I'm looking for anything outside of a few minutes trade. So yeah, I'm just being patient. I've taken money from the market, and I'm happy with that, right? So that's really all I would say about it. You know, this could reject and go lower, of course, but I don't know what it's going to do. Nobody does. So going into a news event like this as well, I'm less prone to letting it ride because, you know, we still could have some volatility ahead of us. I think we do. But yeah, if it rejects from here, completely happy with it. You know, maybe it gives me a secondary entry on the way down, and we go from there. Anything to add, Max?
Good shit.
All right. Well, that was 27 minutes, but I think that's good for everyone. There's 39 of you in here, so I hope you all appreciate that. I am going to jump off the screen over to what everyone's here for, XRP. See some chatter about XRP in the chat, and let's talk about the levels I've been giving you guys on various shows, both in the group and out of the group. I've basically been saying that we're going to go back to 47 cents. I've been counting on it myself. That this was going to continue to be, you know, support, as I was looking for 29 cents back in the, like the June 2021 timeline. I was calling for 29 to 36 cents, excuse me, as a target, and that's where we are. So from here, you've run up to the quarter one low at 54 cents, which was your key level. And you have several things here. You have a monthly level here that is now completely washed through. You could go to the 3-month and see that it wasn't washed. So you were looking to basically stay in this consolidation range. A very simple way to look at this is say, okay, we've established a range from here on up to here. And I'm going to go ahead and shift this over like so. And we'll go down to like a 4-hour. And this is my range. Okay. So we've come down, established range lows, established range high with the deviation, come back to the range low with wicks beneath it. And what did we do? We ran back to the EQ and then failure to reach the bottom of the range. What's the fancy way of saying this? Partial decline. And we're yet to rotate our range. We actually have an untapped monthly open up here that we would be targeting normally anyway. Boom. What have you done? You've rotated the range. So this is all normal trading. No manipulation. Don't care about airdrops, guys. Been looking for this for like over a week and a half. Been looking for this move. So it's just a range rotation. It's all it is. We're just rotating the range, and that's how you should be trading it. You've got great invalidation, and you have a much higher time frame bias. So now let's talk about the trade setup we've been talking about since we made this low. Since we hit the 29 cent target, we have been talking about XRP doing some things, right? The quarter one low being the key level right here. So if we go out to the 3-month, what you'll notice is that is your quarter one low, and look where you're butting up against. And you can see there's other wicks here on the 3-month chart, giving you a pretty good idea that, you know, if one wanted to, they could theoretically just mark out these this right off here and say these are the wicks from high time frames showing me where we should be looking to. You go down to the daily, and what did you do? Boom, right into it. So we'll keep it simple there. But on the high time frames, you did have a larger pattern at play that I've been watching and I've been trading. And it is a harmonic pattern. We've talked about this for quite some time. It's a very pretty harmonic, meaning that if you were to measure from X to A, this run up, and then attach that same length of time to the C leg, you have an exact 1-to-1. So it took the exact same amount of time for it to go from the COVID lows to this local high, to this local high, to the local low. So it's very symmetrical. It's very clean. And we would be looking to run this to the B leg potentially, which is all the way up here at 87 cents. What would validate that target is a move back above 54.61 cents. So I'm just working off the premise that this is potentially a local low. I'm only interested in trading in this region where these wicks are, getting accumulation down here close to the 2023 open, taking a profit up here, and leaving some to ride potentially if we go above that level. I would like to see it run into some of these higher targets like the B leg pivot at 87 cents with some areas of interest along the way. Obviously, we have the 6-month right here, which is your 6M1 in POC from the move down, meaning that this is 6 months of price action, and we left a naked point of control there. So I'd be looking for that to be filled first after 54 cents. I don't think there's much really in between you and 77 to as high as 81.15. and that would be how you're looking at this from a high time frame. This also requires the markets to continue up or fiat to start rotating back into altcoins, right? So that would be what you want to see. You don't want to see Bitcoin dominance just ripping. It's not going to necessarily hurt the USD pairings on these, which is what I usually trade, but it's not going to certainly benefit them all that much either. But if you go out to like a monthly here, we can then get rid of this and we can take a look and you can say, all right, I don't have anything in between me and these wicks right here. We just established that we're quarterly wicks. Get back above that quarter one low at 54 cents. There's nothing between you and probably going to 77 to 81 cents with the overall target still coming in at the B leg, because that is what you're going to target first anytime you have a harmonic like so. You can see this is where the median was established, which on this one here was very, very fast. You normally don't see this, but the symmetry of the pattern, the perfect ratios at the 1618 right here with the 886, which technically it says 0.903, but that's pretty close. This is a very clean setup. So it's allowed me to take 2 trades already. I've taken one here. I've taken another one here. My target was 47.99 cents. So I've taken profit once, got to take profit again. And I'll leave some to ride, because if this does break above and Bitcoin is doing bullish things, then I would look for XRP and other altcoins to follow. Don't care about the lawsuit. Don't care about any of that other stuff, the airdrop. And it's not that it's not important, guys. It's just not important to trading. It just really isn't. You don't need it. It's all noise, and it will affect the way you look at the charts and how you position yourself. So for me, you'll catch me talking tons of shit to XRP holders because of their outlook on price. I think it's a little bit ridiculous, but that's my opinion. Doesn't mean I can't trade the coin, right? And so that's all we're trying to do here is make money. And if we can make money in XRP, it is what it is. And if you had the same sell price, I love to see it. XRP Hitman, congrats to you. Glad you made some money on that. But when you look at this, this is the level you need to get back above on like a daily time frame, that 47.99. You get above 47.99, you will see 53.26 and 54.61. So if we can crack this level, more good things happen. You could locally identify. Dang it, Bobby.
Sounds like someone needs to do that research magic. This is going to $10, man. I don't know what you're on about.
Fucking, if it goes to $10, I'm gonna be no more happy than I am right now, because I probably won't be in it when it does that. But yeah, if you can crack 47.99 cents, you could look at this as the next step up to about 53.26 to 54.61. So you need to be living above this level, not a wick, right? Otherwise, you are looking at this as, a pretty big candle. And what I would do personally, if I was looking for levels to trade off of to the downside, depending on what happens with Bitcoin, I would default yet again to my high time frames. And I would say, okay, even locally here on the monthly, we spent 1, 2, 3, and better part of a 4th month living below 40.91 cents. Crack 40.91 cents to the downside again. Probably not going to look great. You may want to mark your January high just as like a speed bump level. I do think that's all it would be right here. But these are the only 2 levels I'm that interested in outside of the base, right? So then I'm looking down to here. So if I were to put more levels on my chart just for downside price action to trade, this would be how I would do it. I'd go down to like the 4-hour, and these are the levels we established, and you can see they are going to be very well respected, and I would expect them to be respected on the way down. And you could just level to level trade this after that, right? And if you're day trading this, I know Max is, because that's what he spends most of his time on now. But yeah, that's what I've got on the old XRP chart. Let's see, comments wise, I've been paper trading BTC for a year. Man, you're the man. That's wild. I enjoy it. Is it realistic to make day swing trading part-time career? Yeah, the fact that you use the term part-time is actually really great, I think, because everyone wants to get too involved and spend all their time on the chart when there's no need for that just yet. But if you identify good trade setups and you found success paper trading and you're tracking those results, and you're like, I could theoretically do this a little bit here and there and maybe compound my bags. There's nothing wrong with that, as long as you're taking into account risk and making sure that you're not like, let's say you're only taking 12 to 20 trades a year, which isn't a lot really. You got to think that's 1 to 2 a month. And those would be swing trades. let's say you're taking 12 plus trades a year, just because you're taking fewer trades doesn't mean you can take more risk. You still need to abide by some form of a risk management so that if you lose one of those 12 trades, which you're bound to because it's hard to win every trade, you're not getting absolutely wrecked in the process. But yeah, it's very possible. I think that's a great idea. I get that newbies are liquidity for the pros and the bots, but if I focus, can it be a lucrative part-time group? It can be lucrative. Yeah, man. I mean, here's the thing. You're still learning. So again, even the pros, and this is what makes the pros, is they use risk management, to be upfront with you. It's because even pros lose trades. There's some pros that do this for a living and only win like 40, 50% of their trades. They take big winners and small losses. And that's the key. It's just a numbers game. So whether you're professional or amateur or a master trader, whatever you want to call yourself, I would never refer to myself as any of those things. I would just say that I'm a guy who does this for a living, right? This is how I make my money. And even I have to abide by the same mathematical setup, meaning that I cannot risk more than mathematically as possible to turn a profit. Like I win upwards of 80% of my trades according to 2022. And I can't lose 20 trades and lose my ass and then expect the other 80% to be make up for it if I'm losing too much money on those 20%. You still have to have some balance, right? It has to be there. Yeah, no, XRP, dude, we're here to make money. And XRP was a very technical chart. It's a very good chart. It's not manipulated in any way, shape, or form. Don't listen to people that say that. It's 100% following the analysis and following technicals. So if you set yourself up for success, whether you're an XRP long-term holder and you're just watching it, that's what a lot of people do is like they just why buy and hold. Well, then you're looking to buy at good areas. Like there were people in my comment section in 2021 when I put out this series. I put out a 4-part series on XRP giving my target at 29 cents. Well, it was a 5-part actually, but the 5th part got banned because I gave the XRP target and somehow that one got washed. But it's still on my TikTok. Gave you guys a 29-cent target in 2021. And this whole ride down, man, I heard I was dumb and it was never going to happen. And XRP is going to go to all-time highs and the lawsuit is ending. And I just said, I'm not buying XRP until down here. And so, I mean, whether you're a trader or an investor, it would definitely be good to know when to DCA. Because if you're DCAing at $1.50 or $1.30 or even $1 versus down here sub, we'll call it sub 50 cents. You don't even got to get 29 cents, sub 50 cents. Your average is going to be way different. It just requires a lot more patience because you got to remember that took over a year to reach. So for some people, that's hard to do, right? Yeah, that's really hard to do is to wait and stay out of that because you guys are consuming so much content and you guys consume it from creators. I'm not going to name any names, but they do things for engagement on Twitter every day. They're like, oh, when XRP hits $100, what are you going to do? What color Lambo are you going to buy? Or, they post daily about the lawsuit and get you guys hyped and put all this weight on it when none of that stuff actually matters, man. Not on price. Like it doesn't. You can't do anything about the outcome of those situations. All you can do is control how much you stand to lose and control when you risk your money. And if you can grasp that concept, you can 100% realize that the candlesticks are a reflection of both fundamentals and news that's already priced in before it even gets to you. So you might as well try to have a plan in accordance with what that is telling you, because that's just buyers and sellers interacting. That's all candlesticks are. Far out from here into the future, but to make ends meet, I have been having to sell a bunch. He goes, my hodl bag needs to be. So that's another thing, man. XRP Hitman. It's tough when you never want to put more into something than you can stand to sit on. If you're a long-term holder, that's another tough thing is you're being sold a dream. And it's that XRP one day is going to be this, global asset that's going to be trading at valuations above its current price that one can't fathom. But if you're buying in at 80 cents and 70 cents and $1 with money that you need potentially in the future, and it's not money you can just set on fire and never see again and you'd be okay with it, then it does become tough, especially at the end when you're down in these regions and tough times are ahead potentially and your hodl bag's down like 50, 60, 70%. It's not a hodl bag anymore. That was always kind of a dream lottery ticket at that point. So you have to really sit down with yourself, write out your own finances, your own plan, and say, okay, this is what I can truly afford to put in there, because if it disappeared tomorrow and XRP went to zero, which I know nobody wants to talk about that, it's not probably going to happen. Like 99.99% chance it's not going to happen. You don't want to be in a position where you need that money. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people in crypto get into that. And it's not just XRP, it's other projects, it's even Bitcoin, because people see the cryptocurrency as an opportunity to get in early still compared to like traditional finance, things like that. So even though I'm not one of those people that say you're still early, I do think that we're not early. You just saw one of the greatest bubbles of all time in cryptocurrency potentially. So I would argue and beg to differ that you're only early if you're waiting for the good prices. You're not early if you're buying at 65K on Bitcoin or 50K on Bitcoin or 40K on Bitcoin. You are early if you can buy at a good price now. And that is going to get you to, sub 20K areas as of right now. And maybe it goes lower. We don't know. I tend to, based on my current open trades, I tend to favor that we aren't going any lower than the 15K low. But, I don't really put a hard like, oh, we're going higher or lower, the bottom is in. I don't really get into that because I think that's a really bad mindset to get into. And I saw a lot of really good traders that are calling for lower still miss out on this entire pump, and the whole time calling it a scam and like opening shorts and stuff, which have all been since destroyed or stopped out, right? So it's one of those where you just want to kind of be fluid with the market and not marry the idea of being a bear or bull, because neither one of those guys, they're both going to be right at certain points. But what is the thesis? And I think Crown said it on his Twitter. An ideology is not a trading strategy. So if you're bearish and that's your ideology right now, that's not a very good, effective trading strategy, because you do get rallies like this even in bear markets where it's going to come for you unless you sold and shorted the exact top. Yeah, it is a different perspective. It's not a sexy perspective to most people, unfortunately, because it's not like super deterministic where it's like, oh, the bottom has to be in or not be in. Like, and you see people getting the wars over this in comment section, Twitter, YouTube. I'm sure on TikTok. I don't get on TikTok much anymore. Instagram, whatever it may be, whatever your feed is where you get your crypto content. You'll see people arguing about bottoms and calling people names and all kinds. It's stupid, man. It's just absolutely ridiculous. You should be focusing on how you're positively going to be affected by the current and future price action, and that's it. So that's all I've got. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the XRP breakdown. I'm from a technical standpoint, we're range bound, but on a really high time frame look, there is a setup saying that this could still potentially double in price back to the 80-cent range to maybe as high as $1 even. So people will say, well, we have to have news for that. And maybe there is, but the technical setup was there a long time ago. And I'm here to make money. I don't care what it is, unless it's like Hex. I'm not going to trade Hex or anything like. I don't think you can trade Hex, although they're on MEXC now, but that's not. I don't think that's a good thing for Hex. Generally, when coins like that hit leverage exchanges, that's where they go to die. They go to get shorted into the ground. So if it starts ending up on like Bybit, things like that, it's not always a great sign. But
wait. So you're telling me that guy on Twitter that is constantly posting about all of his gains on Hex is lying and it's going to go down?
It could. I don't know. I mean, I don't have a crystal ball. Hex is a whole different beast of a conversation. I tend to think it's a bit of a Ponzi, but if you make money, if you guys make money on Hex and you get that money and you're like, I actually withdrew my money, I got out of the market, I made money on Hex, this guy's an idiot. Cool, good for you. Couldn't be happier for you. I don't care. As long as you're not scamming people personally, I don't give a shit, man. Make your money. That's what this market is for. It's a giant casino to most people. So just make sure that if you're playing in the casino, the odds are in your favor. That's all I would say. And even when the odds are in your favor, you have to remember you're not going to win every trade. It's how it is. The same with blackjack. You can play the best blackjack strategy in the world and still lose blackjack hands. So just make sure you're not all in every hand. That's it. It's the only way to word it. Anything you want to add on the order flow side of things before we hop off here?
No, you've got some buyers coming in right now.
No.
I'm just looking at it. So, got to wait for either some strong selling to come in and push us down, or take the high before one jumps in. Because, if you are getting buyers up here, it's definitely not smart money, but can't really. Yeah. Whenever you've seen buyers and you think the dumb money is of late, I've learned this lesson already in this little uptrend that we've had, the past couple of weeks. It's not.
Yeah, OI,
It doesn't offer the short like it used to. So
yeah, OI definitely climbed back up on that little rise there, didn't it? But yeah, this is what I was talking about earlier, guys, where I said I'm out of that position. I'm not going to hold it. I'm looking for a retest of this area, maybe a new high to be made, and you're kind of seeing that now. So wait for the secondary opportunity. There always is one. And whether that comes from higher prices or comes from somewhere in this region of the chart to give you a short, yeah, you can go for it. Otherwise, don't just blindly jump in and think that you're going to, you're going to be right because you're so confident in your levels, right? That can be a dangerous thing. But yeah, no, 100%. Guys, I'm going to end the stream because it is 55 minutes in. There are still 37 of you in here,
I will
according to
say,
my side.
yeah. And have you seen the likes, mate? Go check the likes while I go over.
Oh,
I will
man,
say,
getting all excited.
if you are that person that is overconfident in your levels and you notice I've been losing trades, I'm on a losing streak, order flows for you, because it really does help you tone down the amount of trades you take to better trades. Once you fully incorporate it into your trading and you can see it, you're not just thinking oh, we're getting a quick rejection from my level, I'm going to enter short, or you're not going to set a limit order and just let price blast through. You can see all the different components, all the working parts behind the scenes, and you can see, okay, this is a weak uptrend into this level. Okay, that's one bonus. Maybe I want to take that short. Order flow really is key. If you are that person that's so confident in your levels and yet you keep getting wrecked, or you don't even have to be confident in it. If your levels keep getting, if your trades and you're trading every single trade that your levels are showing, and you're getting wrecked time and time again, order flow is the the answer to help you. So
1000% it is. I put a huge emphasis on it as well, and I let Max do his thing. As I always say, Max is probably one of the better order flow traders in the space. He trades exclusively off of it. His high time frame analysis is mid, but his low time frame and order flow is amazing. So like Max does certain things really, really well, and what he does really well, he's a perfectionist about. So there's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to do everything 100% perfect in the space. I don't do order flow nearly as well as Max, so he could be like, Magic's order flow game is mid, and he would probably not be wrong compared to some people in the space. But it works for me because I do other things well, and I exercise what he was just talking about, patience. I still wait to get in and out of trades, and I only play when I see the things that I need to see. And I'm super confident in my levels. Like, my levels are generally very, very, very good. That doesn't mean that I can blindly trade them, though. I occasionally do it. Max knows I occasionally preset. I tell people when I'm doing
it does my head in, because I'm like, what?
Yeah, I will preset.
Because then he'll preset and it'll go in his favor. Whenever I preset, wrecked.
I never preset unless like I'm like 99.99% sure of a level where I'm like, there's no way. Like, that's the one. Anyways, I'm going to hop off. It's been almost an hour. Thank you guys so much for the 46 likes. That is absolutely amazing. As always, if you're watching this back, leave a comment down below. Let us know what you think, or if you have any requests, things like that. I'll be on Sin City Crypto today at 1 p.m. with Caleb Franzen, I believe. And I always love doing that for the FOMC. Then we've got our 8:30 p.m. members only live tonight. Link to all of our services education wise. That's primarily what we're trying to do, is get you guys educated on how to take trades and chart. Link is in the bio, leadingcrypto.io, and we will catch you guys in the next live stream tomorrow morning. Actually, I won't be here tomorrow morning. I hate to break it to you. I know you're on your own. It's a solo stream for Max, unless you guys want to give Max a day off.
Did you not see what happened last time I had a solo stream, mate?
You did kind of botch the analysis, but you didn't. You also went over where you were wrong, though. You went over where you were wrong. I remember you were like, "But where am I wrong on this?" Yeah.
And I said in the stream, I'm either going to be very right or very wrong. And Jesus Christ, look at us now.
There is no gray area, so that's always good.
No, that's it. It's very right or very wrong. Yeah, indeed.
Right on, guys. I'm gonna jet. I got to get the truck to the shop, and then I'm gonna jog home. That's how I get home out here in the middle of nowhere. I'm 5 miles from the shop, so I got a 5-mile jog home after that, and then that show at 1 o'clock. So I've got limited time. But
just be
I'll
careful
catch
of
you
that
guys.
thing that's in the grass.
What's that?
Be careful of that thing that's in the grass that spikes your feet.
Oh yeah. Dave says put me, coach. All right, guys.